Let's start off by addressing the main question. Is democracy really in trouble? Before we can ask ourselves that, we must first ask ourselves, what is a democracy? By definition, a democracy is a political system in which the supreme power lies in a body of citizens who can elect people to represent them. And by now, we all know that a democracy includes equal rights and freedom, but we don't go to the extent that each and every one of us is on the same level, such as a communist state would. Democracy gives us rights, and rights allow us to succeed and excel. Democracy is like everything else in this world and needs a strong base to work properly. Much like a house needs a strong infrastructure to stand on its own. It may sound and look fine on the outside, but on the inside it's caving in. South Sudan is a good example of a country building an infrastructure. They may have lower than average numbers, but given they are only 2.5 years old, they are decently well off. In comparison to a similar sized country with similar numbers, such as population, South Sudan is well off in the ballgame. Cuba has been around for much longer than South Sudan, and its GDP is only 4 to 5 times that of South Sudan's. This proves that a democracy produces more of an outcome than, let's say, Cuba's communist state. Critics use caving governments to diss and degrade democracy. How can you say democracy is bad and failing when you base your entire argument off examples of democracy that aren't even doing it correctly? The evidence that The Economist provides uses faulty examples of democracy, with the exception of the United States. When acknowledging the U.S., they use statistics and opinions as the base to their argument. They say we are in debt, and we are. Our debt is almost equal to that of our GDP. That's 16.14 trillion, and our GDP is 15.68 trillion. Not to mention that approximately 28.4% of our debt is owed to another arm or branch of our government. The United States is argued to have a poor government and democracy, but at the end of the day, who is the remaining superpower? The United States and some of the most powerful countries are allied with the U.S., so obviously we are doing something right. In conclusion, democracy may have a few snags, but it is only as good as you want it to be.
Created using Powtoon.